Hi, good morning, and welcome to Prime Media TV. This day, 19th of September 2023. My name is Moses, and welcome to the newspaper review for the 19th of September 2023. Before we go on, we'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Again, and this is the 19th of September 2023. First, we'll begin with the Vanguard this morning. The Vanguard this morning top story says Nigeria in revenue crisis with huge public debt. Adedeji, the new FIRS boss, says Nigeria in revenue crisis with huge public debt. Adedeji, the new FIRS boss, says. A news following that says price of Kwa Igbo hit over $100 per barrel on supply deficit. Price of Kwa Igbo hit over $100 per barrel on supply deficit. And also on news on the Oshodi Apapa Expressway, how police, Odidua boys, others worsen gridlock. How police, Odidua boys, others worsen gridlock. We'll take a quick look into that. One week after Governor Sanwo-Olu's directive to the Lagos State Special Committee on Apapa Traffic to clear the trucks on the Oshodi Apapa Expressway within 24 hours, the police and the Dua boys have been fingered for the perennial gridlock, which took a turn for the worse yesterday. Motorists were held up in traffic for over 6 hours yesterday as the gridlock stretched to Alaba Express bus stop from Berger to Suya bus stop. A few motorists had to drive on the curbs with the attendants damaged to their vehicles to beat the traffic, while those who could not gnashed their teeth in the gridlock. A member of the police task force set up to clear the menace fingered some corrupt security agents and a group of urchins known as Odudua boys for the intractable gridlock. It is the activities of police and Odudua boys. His words were, the corruption in the police is one of the factors. Some police officers have spent 15 years on this road. Some of them are doing daily contribution trips of 25,000 naira. If you redeploy them, they will come back after 1 month. That is what he said. Said 2 weeks ago, the governor had a meeting with the stakeholders on Oshodi Apapa traffic. There will be another meeting by the end of the month. Many truck and tanker drivers have refused to come under the e-collop system. There is also the menace of Odudua boys who are working with the police or for themselves collecting money from the truck drivers. The Odudua boys are boasting that nothing can be done to them because they are in power. A source at the Nigerian Port Authority who lamented that many trucks cannot get to the port blamed some truckers for the bedlam. The current gridlock along the Maitu Tinkan axis is caused by tankers that have taken over the main carriageway. They are not moving but causing bunching. Many port-bound trucks are prevented from having access to the port. That's that on Vanguard this morning. Let us now move on to Channels Television this morning. Channel Television says, the top story says, federal government has not made any effort on CNG buses, cash transfers, and others, says NLC. Federal government has not made any effort on CNG buses, cash transfers, and others, says the NLC. And also, it said Musk malls charging all ex-users small monthly payment. As it is seen that Elon Musk, the owner of former Twitter, now called X, is looking out to charge small amount every month for the Twitter or the X users. And that is what is coming out to say this 19th of September 2023. And also, Tribunal sacks Taraba PDP lawmaker, affirms selection of 2 APC candidates. Tribunal sacks Taraba PDP lawmaker, affirms election of 2 APC candidates. Says, during the election of a few months back, the PDP lawmaker won, and the court has actually sacked the PDP and then appointed or declared the APC, 2 members of APC candidates winner, and they declared them as lawmakers. That's that on channels. Let us now move on to The Nation this morning. The Nation says Atiku Obi appeals raise concern over Supreme Court cases. Atiku and Obi appeals raise concern over Supreme Court cases. Tinubu Ramaphosa in investment talks with Onga. Tinubu and Ramaphosa in investment talk with at Onga rather. Excuse me, beg your pardon. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday emphasized that Africa cannot have a stable democracy in the presence of poverty of knowledge and people facing starvation. The president, who spoke when he met with his South African counterpart, President Cyril Ramaphosa, in New York on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Anga, for bilateral talks, noted that a democracy without food on the table is a breeding ground for what will consume the continent if care is not taken. He told his South African counterpart that the continent must join hands and agree that international finance institutions require reform, since the continent is not a ground for economic scavenging any longer, but a place with gifted people ready for investment and cooperation. That's that on that. Federal government NLC fruitful talks on palliatives to continue. Federal government NLC fruitful talks on palliative to continue. Now let us move on to the Punch this morning. The Punch newspaper this morning, the top story on the Punch newspaper this morning says Obi won on social media but lost the presidential poll. Obi won on social media but lost at the presidential poll, says Olatubora, senior advocate of Nigeria. He says Obi won on social media but lost at the presidential polls. Why? Because his followers are more on social media than present at the presidential polls. Now on the Labour scene, it says federal government and NLC meeting deadlocked. Workers insist on demand. Federal government NLC meeting deadlocked. Workers insist on demand. Let's take that. In a race to beat the deadline for the planned commencement of an indefinite strike that may lead to the shutdown of the economy, the federal government on Monday held a meeting with organized labor on post-subsidy removal palliatives for workers. The parley, hosted by the Minister of Labor Simon Lalong in Abuja, however, failed to reach a consensus as the Nigerian Labour Congress insisted that the federal government must meet its demand ahead of the 21-day ultimatum issued on September 1st by the Congress. The union had on September 1st handed down the 21-day ultimatum to the federal government over the delay in sharing of palliatives, saying it might be compelled to declare an indefinite labor action if its demands were not met. In furtherance of its demands, the NLC mobilized workers for a 2-day warning strike on September 5th and 6th, partially grounding social and economic activities in several states, with banks, ministry agencies, and departments closed to the public in some states. The NLC leadership has said that the action was in preparation for a total shutdown of the economy, which would start at the expiration of the ultimatum on Friday. Among other demands, the NLC and the Trade Union Congress were asking for wage awards, implementation of palliatives, tax exemptions, and allowances to the public sector workers, and a review of the minimum wage. Though the federal government made a commitment to structure the framework for engagement with organized labor on palliatives, the 8-week time frame set for the conclusion of the process expired in August with no action whatsoever. Briefing journalists at the end of the meeting on Monday, both parties pledged to find solutions to the key demands tabled before the government by the organized labor before the deadline. Lalong said many of the items presented by the labor were still under consideration before the final agreement. And that's the newspaper review for the 19th of September 2023. Join us in the next hour for a very, very great show. My name is Moses. This is Prime Media TV. Till I come your way next time, goodbye.